patch too much. They want to keep with the old tried and true. Sand King is going to be the last pickup here for Execration side to really round out the rest of this draft. So nothing too crazy as far as drafting goes for this one. Nothing like flashy and fancy like we saw last game. This is the real deal, and we're going to hop into the game right now.
Better get ready.
Off introductions on your Radiant side. IAP, also known as Execration, the Filipino crew, really want to bring it back to the homeland here, being able to move into Kiev if they win this matchup. If they don't, we're going to have some tiebreakers. Starting out here on the bottom lane, it's going to be Emma Stone playing your support Sand King. Just behind, we got Fox playing your Viper. We got Kimo playing, or Kim playing your Skywrath Mage. Bison's going to be playing your Queen of Pain. And finally, heading up towards that off lane, it's Iwi, or EWE, playing your Faceless Void.
Well, for the Dire side, it's the mostly Malaysian squad, although a bit of a mixed bag here. We're going to see in the safe lane Brewmaster Johnny, the Singaporean player on the Brewmaster. Sharky going to be playing the Venomancer in support role. Winter going to be on the Wisp. He's headed mid lane with Chibix on the Tiny. Get some good old Wisp Tiny. And then finally that puts Ling onto the off lane Puck on the Dire side. Well, the big thing that stands out to me is Wisp and Tiny both rushing bottles. That normally you see these Wisp dual lane mid. One of the heroes goes for the bottle, like Tiny will get some items and Wisp rushes the bottle for the team. But this time around it looks like they're both getting a bottle.
Yeah, well, you know, with 2 runes available, I would imagine they're going to try their damnness to control both of those runes every 2-minute interval. So we'll see if they can go win.
And away we go.
Once to get a hold of it for himself, has Sharky hand in hand here to contest it, but it looks like it's going to be IAP to get the bottom one. The bottom is going to be the bounty. This means that top it's going to be.
Got a feeling this is going to be good.
Right back to the top lane here, and well, also to note, it was a recent change here on that bottle. It was increased by price up to 700. It's not a whole lot different when you're rushing bottle this hard, but you know, it is a few extra gold, maybe an extra last hit you have to get in before you can actually secure that.
Well, early dewarding happening from both teams. Sharky dewards the offlane Observer Ward in the trees, and it looks like, I think Uwe on the Void got the deward in the lane, because I only see one Dire Observer Ward on the playing field, so it looks like he did get a nice little deward off on the important lane ward there, so that's going to help him out a lot up top. He's up against the dual lane, and he should be able to get pretty much free XP. Venomancer and Brewmaster can't zone him out too well. I mean, Veno can, but Void's very elusive, and he's just going to be looking to use Fog and get the most out of this lane by just being as sneaky as possible.
And we are going to have a bit of a pause here as the last hits go underway. Johnny feeling like there's just a little bit of a lag issue, feeling about 215 as far as ping goes, so wants to wait it out a bit, maybe all tabbed, make sure he's got nothing running simultaneously here, and we are going to get the go underway. And already Winter lingering nearby. Looking to get some early stacks in, I would imagine, here to be able to farm up later with the Tiny. So you're very, cookie cutter to go at it as far as Wisp Tony's concerned. And I imagine he's going to venture towards that rune area. So Bison knows this is happening, I would imagine. Wants to add the early pressure to Tiny as much as possible, putting in the shadow strike, getting some right clicks in, but just to be cautious, because once this quick does hit that bottle, it can be very deceptive as far as, Tiny rather being very low life. To jump and quickly probably heal him up and deal the burst damage.
Yeah. Problem is right now Winter only level 1, can't heal him up with the bottle until he gets that point in the overcharge, and well, it's gonna, unless he wants to walk forward and tank some damage on the creep wave. But yeah, it's a bit hard. Tiny already very low in this mid lane, seeing on 500 gold, and it looks like quick pause gonna be some internet ISP swapping around maybe on the Johnny's Revenge side. But as you can see, as we've mentioned, very important game for both these two teams, and this is serious business. I mean, I'm excited for this game so much. Like, just the thought that a team like IAP Execration, who've been working so hard, playing so many SEA tournaments, yet to have a breakthrough, could be going to Kiev, is really exciting. And Johnny's Revenge, similar story. They're a team who have been kind of nipping at Titan's heels in the Malaysian scene, been doing really well, haven't had a big result, but could theoretically be a contender to go to Kiev as well. Like, it's always been about Titan when it comes to the Southeast Asian scene, but for once, it's about these two teams.
Yeah, and obviously, try my best to remember my Dota here. I would imagine, Johnny, the player who had been formerly Rattlesnake, then had moved over to be a part of Aero Gaming, and now being a part of this squad, just kind of always being a part of those teams that kind of make it to the big time somewhat, but don't really perform as well as you'd like. So, if he does continue down that path, he could make it to StarLadder, but I hope the curse doesn't continue and he doesn't really perform that well at the actual LAN. Don't mean to jinx him on that one there, but yeah, I agree as well. It would be amazing to see, this Filipino squad squad be able to make it to that pinnacle point. So, you know, this is a big deal kind of a game. They are showing a lot of respect. They want to make sure that everyone gets the appropriate ping, wants to make it as fair as possible because it is such an important matchup.
Yeah, so we'll get everything underway. Both teams being very polite. These guys are all good friends. Chemo's one of those guys who, you're talking about being Winter. He's like he's very much like Winter, except like a Filipino version where he's a bit more over the top and friendly. And these guys are all very good friends. Have been playing together since long ago in the Dota 1 days. So they have a lot of respect for each other. And even though they want to be the team going to Kiev, they'll definitely be showing all the fair play that should be shown in a game like this.
No, of course. I did want to give a quick shout out here to the Radiant side courier. It's going to be Boy Hubo here, the one and only courier on the naked Greevil here. Not the most aesthetically pleasing courier. I myself have also fancied a naked, Greevil just to really irritate my team. Now with the courier morph that can change, but I'm one to always lock it in place.
That's such a chemo thing, like to have such a ridiculous courier with some. I don't know what the name is. The one and only courier foe. I think it got cut off.
Yeah, I mean,
that last little bit there, but
here, but it is Puck who's going to have a reconnect here as they do swap lines here to make sure they get the most ideal ping as possible. But I guess we can go into a little more strategy here. Now that we do see the laning setups that are going to be before us here, we'll try to look over, favorites as far as it goes. It is Void here in his solo offlane role we've seen for a long period of time. Very successful in the hands of players like your Universe on EG. Even before that, I even saw Mike in his hands like running it. And he has the escape mechanism with that time walk to avoid any sort of incoming danger. Maybe he'll go with the early backtrack to have a little extra sustain in the lane. He already has the stout shield. Could consider putting that into a poor man's shield if he feels like he's getting harassed heavily, which definitely could come from a Venomancer looking to really lay it in heavy here. And, I mean, how do you personally feel? Faceless Void, you're put in the lane, you're going to be going against a Brewmaster and a Venomancer. Are you nervous at all about Venomancer really laying it on thick here?
I don't think so. I think if Void plays it smart, I like what he's doing. Like level 1, he can kind of go at Sharky and give him some hits. He's got Stout Shield on the Void, but once Sharky gets a level or 2, that's when the Void's going to just have to play a bit more elusive, use the trees, use the fog, and try and leech XP more than anything. If he can get a couple last hits in the first few minutes, it's huge, because it means he gets boots, maybe a poor man's shield, and it helps his laning stage a ton. If he doesn't get those last hits, that's when he just has to sit back and leech XP. So I think either way, Void does alright in the offlane. As far as offlaners go, I think I'm a bit more worried about the Puck, who is in a rough matchup. Viper, great laning hero, and Skywrath Mage, the Ancient Seal, a great way of dealing with a Puck. So it's not going to be a fun time for Ling in this offlane on the Puck.
Well, we'll have to see, though. I mean, they would have to be aware that it is going to be Wisp and Tiny hand in hand in this mid lane. We might not see a whole lot of early movement coming out from your Dire side. So with that, maybe they take advantage. Skywrath might consider moving around a bit, though he doesn't have an early smoke. But also the same could be said for Sand King, who does have a smoke. So they could look to move around pretty heavily, add the extra pressure. If they can get a quick takedown on this mid lane, maybe on the Wisp, on Winter, this could leave things very, very tricky for the Tiny, and he might fall behind very quickly to a Queen of Pain. That allows Queen of Pain to accelerate forward, and next thing you know, you see Bison running around the map, looking to burst down the whole opponent's team, and it's going to be really a lot of pressure here on JR to try to recover.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. I think the game plan for IAP as far as movement is going to be just that. Smoke mid with Sand King and Skywrath, and then Sand King's going to spend pretty much most of the first 10 minutes farming the jungle. But that's the problem for Johnny's Revenge, is they don't know when that Sand King gank is coming, because Sand King is always missing off the map. He's always in fog right now he's doing pulls. Once he hits level 3, he can start stacking big camps and using the Sandstorm to farm, and that's where they don't know when that smoke gank mid's coming, and it's going to come probably in the first 5 minutes of the game. And if you can get a kill, even if it's just the Wisp, that does so much for Bison on this Queen of Pain to help him snowball. So I think that's really solid decision for IAP to go for an early smoke gank, mixed in with Sand King just trying to be greedy. I think he's going to be really greedy with his jungle farm, because Skywrath alone can zone out Ling on the Puck very effectively.
I'm trying my best during this pause to show as much cool cinematic showcase shots as possible.
Oh yeah.
During that time,
and explore the new map.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really make as much aesthetically pleasing things as possible for the stream while we're waiting this pause. But here we go, underway here. Skywrath Mage, I mean, like you said, putting on some really early harassment here on the Puck, so that really pushes him back quite a bit right now. But as far as CS goes, it is, you know, Queen of Pain well in the front right now, 7-2, you know, Tiny 6-2, hanging there toe-to-toe with him right now. And there you go, you got your winter bottle all set up and ready to go. And we got about, 15 seconds. We're going to see our potential first rune battle here. Skywrath Mage already mingling his way towards the bottom one, and it is going to be Bison going to the top. So what I thought was going to be them being able to have some early rune control, and look at this. Filipino side, they got both runes covered already. They're holding strong. They're like, hey, don't even think about it. I got the bounty rune here at the top. Bottom is going to be the illusion picked up from Kim, and well, he sends those illusions mid, and well, actually
Top lane,
nice
Sharky maybe dead.
Void in the off lane manages to catch up the Venomancer with a very nice lockdown. And Johnny, unfortunately, can't really help out his ally in need. So, first strike.
I don't know what Sharky's doing there. He was going crazy a bit.
Can't afford to hand over a first blood like that in such an important match. So, and for a Void too, who should be not having the easiest time. You want to punish him and not allow him to have too much going here. But here we go, mid lane, looking to come in. Sand King, gets the burrow strike. Save that from Winter, trying to heal him up as quickly as possible. But he does make a swift retreat. So, thank goodness for Winter to be right there and helps out his ally in need. But meanwhile, top lane, they're looking to go for revenge here on Yui here. He does not have mana for the time walk. He's going to do one more right click and they get it. Oh, so just when you think there's a big advantage for the off-lane Void, Johnny grabs one right back.
Yeah, big revenge kill there. That makes a big difference in this left lane. So you give him the first blood, but getting the kill back, I think it doesn't quite negate it, but it does help out a lot. Because Johnny getting the kill, he didn't die as well. So at the end of the day, Johnny's still being free farming. He has a kill on top of it. It's just the Void.
Sorry, mid lane. They almost actually got the Queen of Pain. Winter got some really nice spirit balls off, and then it looked like she's about to get away, but Chivix just tossed Winter in there, and it was just so close to being able to take him down. And well, he promptly blinks over, and without a bottle, she's stuck. She is stuck in these trees until she has the mana.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
15 away. This is plenty of time here for the mid lane to figure things out. She's just kind of waiting it out a bit, and with no bottle, might have to retreat. Yep, and will have to go all the way back to base. So this is a significant amount of time for Queen of Pain to be away from this mid lane.
Where did Queen of Pain's bottle go? Did it get stolen? It got stolen! What? Chipix has the bottle! I was like, wait, when you were saying like with no bottle, I'm like, okay, is Queen of Pain bottle prone? No, it's not stolen. Chipix has the bottle of the Queen of Pain. That is just absolute catastrophe for Bison.
No. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice them grab it. I guess whilst the interaction was happening there in the top lane, it must have been a swift takeaway. Because as they jumped back, they were making it go here. And Queen of Pain, she must have been maybe dropping it on the ground, and they pushed the high ground and quickly snapped it up, because there might have been a deceiving moment when Tiny was very low, and she might have figured he was not in the lane. But they promptly jumped back with the 8 of Winter. They just went up to the high ground and must have swiftly taken it from, right beneath her. And then at that point, they just pulled the trigger on making the harassment, and oh man, this Queen of Pain. What looked like a bit of a grim moment there. Now with the bottle not being in hand, this is devastating.
And when we talked about like the ganks mid and try to get this Queen of Pain snowballing, well, this Queen of Pain's going to need a lot of help now. Problem is, now that the Wisp Tiny have levels, if Wisp just sits back and tethers in with some heals from the bottle, Chipix can't really be ganked. He's also got an Invis rune, so I think Sand King, as much as you want to gank and help the Queen of Pain, Sand King's maybe just going to be better off farming. He's got himself a triple stack in the medium camp. No mud golems coming his way, so I think Sand King's just going to have to farm it up. I think at this point you say, Queen of Pain, you're behind, but that's tough shit. Like, you've got to deal with it. We can't really help you right now.
No other way about saying it. Tough shit. So it's going to be rough. Yeah, Sand King has got to get to like the objectives here to really be able to get that initiation under control. And well, bottom it looks like Tony here got an inventory. He sees a very, very flimsy Skywrath Mage. He'd love to be able to burst down rather quickly, but they do promptly step back. They notice that the Tiny's not in the mid lane anymore. It's Winter defend for himself here, trying to get some additional levels. The closer he gets to that level 6 and relocate. Uh-oh, back on bottom. Move in on Fox. Foxes are getting bursted down, and that invisibility ends up paying off very nicely for JR as they pick up another kill for themselves, pushing ahead 2 for 1. But with that on top of the bottom, it is looking like a very, very promising start here.
Yeah, that's a really nice little gank there. I think Viper, like, I got some treads and nice intentions. He got tossed into the tower and brought down, so the two lanes which IAP, well, I guess mid lane not the lane they should have won, but bottom lane should be going great. Mid lane should be going decent, and those two lanes kind of both having big problems right now. It's the Void in the off lane who's doing the best, and he's meant to have the tough lane right now. Even though he did die once, he's still Almost got his treads up. He's got level 5.5. He's close to level 6. Like, this is problematic for IAP.
Very much so, and you know, hopefully they're able to shake it off for this one and being able to rally back right now. But
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
Especially the Queen of Pain, who did have to buy a second bottle here. He's not trying to make use of the bottle crowing here in this mid lane to bring it back. But that is just one step away from where you want to be. And I believe that opens up the opportunity for Tiny to get some early power treads in. He's looking to build forward. He's got the magic available to go when it comes towards this mid lane. You look at Johnny here, level 6 with that primal split and a blink dagger on through. As he's looking to maybe make something happen here in the mid lane. He's getting a tremendous amount of farm work this early in the game.
Yeah, that's where, like, they give up the first blood to the Void, but Brugame Revenge just accelerated his farm tremendously. And 7-minute Blink Dagger, this is kind of scary. He's going to be looking for kills. Unfortunately, like, Queen of Pain and Void both have escape mechanisms.
Yes.
If he tries to so not the easiest to find
lane,
kills.
stun, oh, Spirit
Very
Ball
close.
bring, yeah, very close indeed. One more ball, done. The bald winner, so unable to get it done, but definitely just continuing on harassment. And again, Queen of Pain gonna have to retreat all the way back to the base to just get those resources back in order. This allows time for Tiny to kind of soul farm back to the mid lane, and it allows Wisp to move back and stack once more. And this is potentially coming the way towards that Tiny, pushing him that much closer towards maybe.
Radiant's mid tower's getting
rotated
banged.
bottom throws an ultimate to support Starrett, so I guess deciding that the mid and the offlane Void can't be killed with a split, so he's happy just to use it for a support hero. Give Ling a bit of farm, a bit of space, and Ling is getting close to that level 6, so he started off having a rough time because being a bit excellent.
And there we go. We get to see Tiny literally going toe-to-toe with these neutrals at the start of a fair amount of farm to come his way. He does have the bracer, so he's going to go for the drums first, which is a smart choice of electric survivability and momentum. Would love to have that go mid lane. Sankey has that. Well, without the aid of Tiny to be there to throw out a stun, he gets blown the hell up. And, well, Jing rotates in, but it's just too little too late. Did have foil available here to maybe go for a counter initiation, but unfortunately, timing was just not right.
We're going to go on the Queen of Pain mid, dodges the avalanche though.
Uh-oh, throw that fairy forward, and they're going to make it go. They're going to go in a hot pursuit. The blink's not going to be there. Nice silence to follow it up, but the burrow strike going to slow the roll here of Tiny, and that's just more than enough for the Queen of Pain to make her escape. So, ooh, quick reaction.
Radiant's top tower's hurting.
To be there. And, well, just makes it
Guess what's happening to Dire's bottom
up
tower?
Tiny a bit, and it looks like Johnny's looking for top lane.
Yeah, Sankin coming up big with the early Blink Dagger. He's got more net worth than the Queen of Pain, so someone has to create space right now, and with the Queen of Pain having the slow side, it's going to come in the form of Emma Stone on this Sand King. So Epicenter already leveled up and doesn't have the mana for it right now, but even without Epicenter, could just be looking to set up some plays with a Blink Barrow.
We're at that point in the game now. We got a lot of level 6s underway. Even Void has his Chrono Sphere, so we're going to look at some fireworks getting ready.
Dire gave up bottom tower.
There on the bottom lane. Which, speaking of which, they did manage to secure that tier 1 tower on the bottom lane, so this is overall net worth that is going to swing towards Execration's favor, which they would love to have. And, touching base here with the Wisp Tiny combo. Wisp still level 4, you know, would love to get to that level 6 sooner than later, so Winter going to go hand in hand here into the jungle and XP from those neutrals. Take down Johnny before he can get the first. Here comes Wisp Tony. They clean up another 2 for 1 in the end, as they do get the revenge. I guess from Johnny revenge.
Big turnaround there with the Tiny leading as well. Tiny of all heroes, the one hero that JR really want to excel at this farm in snowballing, and that little turnaround there goes a long way. I still think for IAP killing the Brewmaster was the right idea. They just couldn't quite do it fast enough, and they had to kind of stare deep under the tower, unfortunately. So they have had zero fun left. I think he's got a mech completed now, which has been thrown out, and with that they can have a much better job through I don't know if they are
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business. Dire's mid tower won't last much longer.
It's going to get this very low. They might consider making a jump in when they go for the woods
towers
right here. Trying to get Sharky with those wards, but still, no one to fall just yet. Does not have the Chronosphere just yet, and is forced to time walk away.
Dyer's mid-tower needs a little help.
From JR, they actually can't take anyone down.
0 for 0. Viper Mech really the saving grace there for the Radiant team, keeping the Skyrim as well as the Viper himself alive. And
tough as nails.
so we saw there the mana cost change hurting Viper. He healed himself back up, but he didn't really have the mana to go back in the fight. He could hardly even sustain using poison attacks. So it's just a T1 tower that JR get in the end for a Brewmaster with ultimate cooldown. So I think I am not too worried about that, especially considering they were fighting without Chronosphere.
I also, you know, I can't help but feel like the quick reaction from Skywrath Mage to get that seal off on Johnny. Once he jumped in,
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
That could have been the big difference maker. They could end up losing one or two. He ends up paying.
Radiant's top tower is in bad shape.
I'm a
IAP
pain
move on 4, Execration
specialist.
clean up another kill for themselves, and now we're back 4 to 5. And it's nice to see a relatively even game as we get ready to approach the mid-game mark here. And, you know, it's going to be a little extra pressure here. It looks like IP feeling a lot more confident. They're going to move to scout on through. They're going to see this double stack, but they're not going to bother touching it just yet. Maybe Sam.
Yeah, that was a big kill on the Tiny too. He's the top net worth hero. It's an 800 gold swing in total, according to the little team fight recap. So, pretty important kill. And then guess what? You've got some space. Emberstone goes in the enemy jungle, takes one of Tiny's stacks, and it's just a small little thing, but it's going to add up, and this is what Tiny really wants and needs to accelerate that farm to get the Ag Scepter up. So IAP making some plays happen, and they're ready to maybe fight and go again. They've got the epicenter, which they didn't have at that top tier 1 tower. So if Johnny's Revenge try and make any sort of another tower push or aggression, it could be met with some counterplays.
Rolling that Radiant's bottom tower. Have fun trying to bust down Radiant structures now. Radiant's bottom tower ain't it pretty?
Chivix retreats down to the southeast corner here to get away, and they do. So they end up trading 1-0. Unfortunately, though, for Execration, they couldn't capitalize on the
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
Still adding pressure here on the bottom tower. It's already been used, and they should be able to bring it down.
Yeah, big win for JR. I think IAP were really counting on getting those kills when they relocated back in. They have
Radiant lost one of them bottom towers.
IAP gonna miss out an opportunity, lose a tower, and now I've got Void at top lane with some backup, and maybe thinking they can use a Chronosphere to get some kills. Maybe a tower of their own. Void's gone in. He's actually time walked behind the tower. Sharky's not going to too late.
They know. They saw the wards go down. They knew Venomous was nearby. And they jump in. They make the gamble, and then find pay off here. They get the Chronosphere to drop Sharky. Now they didn't know that other people were going to be there, so they just jumped in there hoping that they were going to find a Venomous, and they sure did. Now they're going to follow it up.
Dyer's top towers get beat down.
They don't pop the glyph. Oh, man. Bit of a small mistake. I mean, I guess regardless it would have fallen anyways, but you should probably just get in the habit of popping a glyph every tier 1.
Yeah, it's definitely just a habit thing, and right now they're not in a habit, so it's kind of why it's happening. But I think, yeah, you got to get used to just the new change and just spamming that glyph. It stalls them for 3 to 5 seconds, but it also means maybe they missed the last hit, because if you glyph the tower and it's at 10 HP, it's hard to time the last hit with the creep wave there, so they could very likely miss a last hit in the tower. So that's probably the best strategy for using that glyph on tier 1s, is to try and mess up your opponent's last hits.
Yep, so JR got to be able to do that. Wow, he gets blown the hell up with that Mystic Flare to follow up, and very nice quick burst damage coming out from Execration. Puck, and man, back and forth we go, got 6 and 6. This is a really close game, and what could eventually turn into a good nail.
Yeah, I think IAP, they're making really risky ganks. First that gank at the top tier 1 tower, which could have very easily been turned around. And that one there, like, they were blinking in. Sure, Puck couldn't turn that around, but if there's a Brewmaster with a blink trap or Tiny and Raven's actually a blink trapper itself, so he could easily counter-initiate with a blink avalanche at this point in the game. So I think IAP felt a little under pressure to make these big risky plays, but they paid off, and we're finding ourselves in a pretty much dead even game. It was close before those ganks, but I feel IAP are in a much stronger position with kills on those two heroes, not to mention the tier 1 tower at top lane, just giving them a bit of extra pocket money to spend as well.
Yeah, I can't help but notice when you make the call out, Blink Dagger on time. Doesn't like to pull those forward and getting maybe an Agnes such. But here we go, we got a smoke. They follow up a very nice primal smoke. The silence is going to definitely. Try to take him down there. Chronos Bear catches on him. Brew still there to try to do the damage. There's just one follow-up and clock. Here we go toe-to-toe. Johnny and Big Trouble. Sandstorm able to help secure. Barely escapes to Lightfall. Ends up falling, and though Sharky falls from the grave, he gets a double kill. Very nice stuff, but it ends up being a 2-for-3 trade advantage for Radiant.
One Brewmaster Bear was caught outside the Chronosphere and got the Yules on the Void, but even so, they still managed to clean up. The Void got off a good Chronosphere, didn't kill anyone inside of it, but when the backup came, JR just started to fall, and they didn't really have the ability to sustain that fight because the relocate duration was blowing during the Chronosphere. So Wiz Tiny was suddenly taken away from the fight, and the remaining 3 heroes were just kind of left there to fall, to die. And IAP, they capitalized with a 3-for-2 trade. It's still not. I wouldn't say it was a huge victory for them. And he's gone back to farming, and there's another kill. That's a killing spree streak. That's a good chunk of gold, I imagine, that kill.
Yep.
Queen of
He
Pain
went
was
about
trying to get some farm.
from like 12 to 1300 to up to nearly 2k.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show the bounty
got-
system well effective.
He got 550, Queen of Pain losing 329, so... Nice little kill there coming out for Tiny.
Puts him a little bit closer to getting hold of that Agnum Scepter, which then things start get a bit scary. And what I was going to say about that previous team fight there at the bottom, it just goes to show that even though Void was nerfed down a bit, he still can just utilize the Chronosphere like no one else. That can really slow the roll there of JR from getting a lot more damage done. So Void still very quick utilized here, especially into the hands of IAP. Making use of it. He's farming up right now in the top lane. He's got his defense complete. Loves a haste in the hand. This is going to be a late Midas, or maybe he's just going to go for an early miss.
Even after the slight extra cost on Maelstrom, I think it still just synergizes so well with the Mask of Madness and the Chronosphere. And being magic damage as well, it's just good, reliable damage in a Chronosphere. You don't have to worry about the armor as much and other things, so... I like the Maelstrom. I think Maelstrom into BKB will be good this game. He's definitely going to need a BKB to deal with stuff like the Yules last fight, Puck catching him with a Blink Silence, the Tiny combo. Definitely a BKB game, but he probably feels he's not going to do any damage with straight BKB and wants to get the Maelstrom first.
Might see a jump in if we do. Oh, no, they can't quite get it. The combo goes off, but Winter's just not there in time to hit him with the one extra auto attack, or maybe the Spirit Ball to really seal the deal on that Queen of Pain fall. So she does make her escape, and she forces a step back, and they can't walk away with the kill. But IP quickly rotate down here to the south. It's good on, for the Queen of Pain. Johnny trying to retreat away. He's ancient sealed up, and they already lose 3 casualties. A big counter initiation coming out by IP.
Oh, it's a huge team fight. This Void has been in the right place at the right time in so many of these engagements with big Chronospheres. He now hits level 13. He's not particularly farm, but he's making the plays happen just with great Chronospheres placements, and he's showing that this hero just needs levels, and to be in the fight with the Chronosphere, he doesn't have to have all these big items, and it's still very strong, even in 6.82. That was just a great turnaround. What looked like possibly a sticky situation when the relocate came, but turned around by IAP fantastically.
And you can see that gold change 1500 towards IAP's favor, minus 927 on JR's side, something you don't want to be dealing with about 20 minutes in. We get ready to approach that mid-game when you're really hoping that your Whiff Tony can get some significant relocate ganks in. It's just proving to be that much more troublesome with that Void than another team.
Oh, good.
Some of these targets are just becoming so elusive. Even like Sand King and his Burrow Strike Sandstorm holding it a hold. We've already seen how Queen of Pain can get away from incoming Doom. So they're proving to be quite a slippery group here on the Radiant side. As JR, we're hoping to get a lot more takeouts happening here with your Puck, with your Wiz Tony, and even the Brew with his Blink Dagger trying to jump in and get a hold of something. You know, speaking of which, Brew working towards his own Agnum Scepter. He's got his own Toaster acquired here, but looks like they might turn some attention here on the mid lane from both teams here. So as we wait for some of the cooldowns to come off. Void now has the Chrono available here, and I know we don't have a great foil available. This and a Primal split. We could look at another fight potentially breaking out as they do smoke up and shift towards the bottom.
Yeah, looks like they want to meet up with the Wisp tanks. They're even going to go for a loop around and try and fight mid. They have this great observer board, so they see everyone on the other side of the river.
Jump in, they're looking to jumps in like this once again.
And we're back.
Feels like it's thrown up. This goes down. They're taking the Void. Super trying to go for the Bears right now. Fox on pursuit to try to help out Jane. Viper striking. Very nice synergy play right there. Shibix picks up a nice double kill for himself. The only lone fellow poison the Fiend, trying to go toe-to-toe with all the extra poison there. Slowing their roll for now.
Trouble brewing every day.
Was it toxic?
Well, across the buyback from Sankey actually, it does potentially save Fox's life, so worth it in the end there. But the teamfight victory, Johnny's Revenge, very much in their favor there. The Sanking Epicenter just wasn't up to combine with the Chronosphere. Like, you caught everyone in it. Winter survived just long enough. He did end up dying to the Queen in the Chronosphere. Meant that the Void had to chase that a little bit further and ends up dying himself, so... Close call for IAP, but they just didn't quite have the sustainability. And now Chibix, he's got his Ag Scepter. He's going to get in really hard with the support of this Wisp.
He got that big old tree in his hand right now, really to lay it home. Takes a lot of that splash as he sees illusions even do a little bit. A whole lot of
Looks like we lost one.
Jump in, go for the combo, but the Furrow Strike able to shift away. Doesn't get the toss off before they do that bit of
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
Not quite lucky enough to get a single pick off right there, and he will have to waddle back. But, man, this game has proven to be quite entertaining, if I say so. Just when you think one team is getting quite a big, significant team fight with South Void, pretty much back-to-back fights pull off fantastic Chronospheres, and then that previous one, JR, fire back with their own ammunition. So,
yeah,
fantastic game to round up the back end of the group stage with the C and StarLadder Season 10.
Yeah, and there's one thing, I mean, even if JR fall behind, you can never count out the Wisp playing. There's so much comeback potential. You win one fight, and when you're behind 10, 15k gold, suddenly you're taking Raxes, and that's something that Winter knows better than anyone, having experienced that back at TI2 when Orange Esports fell at the hands of eHomes with Tiny. So IAP, got to be very careful about losing a bad team fight against the Wisp Tiny, because that's when you lose Raxes incredibly fast.
Absolutely. And it looks like Winter will be the mech holder for this team. A little closer to that. Might actually have a complete... Nope, just a recipe away, it would appear. Him and Tony shift up here to the top lane and a couple of creeps, and early rotation going to come in from that Queen of Pain. Has the Sonic Stream available here, or Sonic Wave rather, and we also got to avoid Chrono, and they're smoked up. They're waiting to see if they want to push forward, but that is not what Wisp and Tiny are all about. They go properly back, and they're going to the jungle. So, IP are not going to be so lucky catching anyone. This is a bit of time wasted for them, and unfortunately, they're not going to see anything.
Yeah, JR want to start fights with the Brewmaster. I don't think they want to go just relocate. They're not going to start a fight with a relocate.
3 and 4. These folks got off. They see that. Jump in. They're going for Winter. They throw out the stun to try to slow the board. Board's actually pretty low, but they do get Winter. Oh, Sonic Wave's going to actually miss the mark, but it doesn't matter. They end up still bringing down Tiny. So still a very successful pick-off, catching out both the Wisp and Tiny combo. I thought they were going to be able to get away from any sort of incoming gank, but they were just lingering around a little too long. Smoke pops, and Void, for the second time I've seen this game, just kind of makes the jump-in attempt and does catch out what he wants.
Yeah, he only hits one with that Chronosphere and support Wisp, but it still sets up everything that follows there. And well, for IAP, they're looking to follow it up with a tier 2 tower now if they can get this, but I think they'll be a bit wary. I mean, even a potential tiny buyback relocating could just completely wipe them to pieces, so there's no reason to overextend going for a tier 2 tower at this stage when they haven't got the best damage to bring it down.
Yep. For now, it's what they got seems to be working for them. If they smoke up and just get those quick pickoffs, step back, wait, just continue to farm it up a bit and try to press your luck later on. But I'm saying that, and then I'm looking at the draft right now, especially instead of IAP. I mean, I'm seeing a couple of these semi-carries. Void can definitely bring the I don't think he can really hold a candle to a very farm Tiny.
they haven't got like the hard late game carries, but like I would say what they've got is like answers to JR's lineup. Like they've got the Viper Strike to deal with the tiniest damage output in a team fight. They've got the Chronosphere to lock some of these heroes down and set up a ton of damage output from Skywrath, Queen of Pain, and these other heroes. So even though they've got no true late game carry, I think they still hold up pretty well. I would say heroes like Brewmaster kind of hold.
Wow. They saw a Skywrath Mage, and then I saw a Skywrath Mage die. It was just that quick. So they see him, they jump in, they get what they want. It was just a quick hit, and we're all done. So,
but I guess a little warding mission. Yeah, he got the ward down near Roshan.
I guess so. But about, continuing on with talking about the Faceless Void and how valuable that Chrono is going to be for him. He does not have BKB, so Puck.
Epicenter bottom.
Oh man, they're jumping in, they're making it go. The silence is too long, but the relocate as looks like they jump on in and they do. Bison looking to go on with, but scouts out, but sorry, not winner, but the puck scouts out, but they don't really have anything to stop it anyway. So relocate makes the skate jump in. Chrono classic combo here, buddy. That's pretty hefty here. Does survive the jump back stun, doesn't catch him fortunately. Sharky jumps in, pulls out the poison Nova. They can't catch up with Tiny, who side blinks off TP. Boy jumps forward.
The Dire went and fortified their structures.
Well, it was a bit of a hot mess, but still only a 1-for-1 at the end.
So the strategy no longer works. Now works in Chronosphere. Is that how it's meant to work with the new passives?
I would imagine so. It's a passive.
He was getting no craggy procs. He got a craggy proc like right at the end of it. Like, it looked like it was after the How much is going to help out? It's on the split, and do take down the jump and coming up here, but he has no focus here. He's just going huge momentum boost right now for JR. Maybe not just the T1, they go to T2, did it with the admin set for Yasha as well. There's a second whiff as the T1 tower did just go down, but T2 still got a way to defend. I like what Queen of Pain's doing. Queen of Pain's made a huge comeback since the bad start, losing the bottle and gets a T2 top towers, finding kills across the board, and this has been a really impressive play from Queen of Pain, considering this Queen of Pain was like less net worth than the Sand King at like 10 minutes in, so great comeback.
Yeah, utilizing the map to best her ability and her own mobility to try to get around and do a little bit of side.
And we're back.
Man, we saw one big fight there in the mid lane, and that's just the problem when you're going against the Tiny, especially with Agnems. You lose 2 towers at the back end of it, given that the first tower was already relatively loaded again with a huge gold swing. Still going their way at what started as a peak of near 5k advantage. Where your Radiant side is now back to square even here for JR.
Bottom lane.
Good stuff, but here we go. Bottom lane. Very slippery.
Use the Yules to get out of the Orchid here. So big item pickup for Puck actually. Being able to solo push lanes without dying to an Orchid can change Johnny's Revenge just overall gameplay quite a bit. Having a hero who can solo push lanes is pretty important at this stage. You don't want to be getting solo killed when you do that, and that's where the Yules can really help out.
Not even just there, but if she lingers on the outside of a Faceless Void Chrono, with him without a BKB, throw up in the air, and it will definitely aid in that right there. Still they continue to find out Skywrath.
Somebody's cooking. How about that?
At the end of that one, and just a quick 3-man takedown for nothing. And this is pretty much the biggest momentum for one team thus far. Go right to the onside.
Try to be sneaky in the spot.
Burrow's coming down, but how about that? Really nowhere to go.
players I've put on the impact have been up here, like doing a rotation. My team will be taking a rotation, and I sit on this cliff where no one really knows you're up there. That's really a deceptively strong position to be in to get that rotation.
They're not going to get any sort of contention. They take it down. Aegis acquires, or Tiny acquires the Aegis, and well, they're going to just continue to accelerate their farm that much further. 23-18 your score, but man, the graph just dramatically plummets. It was 5K towards one side, now 5K towards the other. New bounding system to play, you really never know how a game can end up playing. Where this was the previous patch, I'd say, well, JR definitely are looking really good at taking this game home at this point with the momentum they have, but you really never know at this point. You get off a very good Chronosphere, and you line everything up with a good epi and a sonic wave, and you could take the game back just like that. So,
yeah, I agree with that. The Void Chronosphere is going to be the key thing in all these fights, and that's where last fight JR like, wait, this Void doesn't have BKB, let's jump him, burst him down before he Chronospheres, and we just win the fight off of that. And sure, IAP could maybe try and get an Epicenter, but look at the Epicenter does a decent amount of damage, but Johnny's Revenge, they've got mech. I think they've just, there was a pipe purchased as well, maybe, no, that was a pipe, but even just with the mech to deal with the Epicenter damage, if there's no Chronosphere, you're maybe losing support, but you're winning the team fight by killing the Void from the get-go and then following it up with some fairly straightforward kills on Skywrath, Viper, and these heroes that don't have escape mechanisms.
I feel like JR had just really thought this whole thing out from the start. I mean, you saw the Void pick up relatively early. They grabbed the timing, and if it is so that the Craggy persists through it, I mean, it seems like they're pretty confident having him in the middle of the first here. Things get very quickly down the road. You got your Punk who has the Mules, and Brewmaster has his own form. You got Venomancer now with a Crimson Guard. That's definitely going to help out as well as the right-click damage. So I feel like as long as Johnny's Revenge, if they put a proper positioning, they don't get all caught out with the photos.
Guess what's happening?
Relocate in, but he doesn't
That is
to go for
top
that tier
tower's
2 and
hurting.
take it down very, very quickly.
Can't
so
do nothing
probably
about
a
that.
Don't take it down just yet. Looks like tiebreakers are slowly becoming a reality here.
One last top tower for Radiant.
Quickly taken down.
Radiant's
Titan
mid-range.
is sitting at home, taking their lucky stars right now that they are still in the shot to get here. As of these two teams, Johnny's Revenge, up 4 Raxes, no GG calls just yet. INP will probably fight to the bitter end, but you're against a Wiz Tiny, down 4 Raxes, 5.3k gold on the Tiny all of a sudden. There is still that big comeback potential. Yeah, it's so unlikely. Void is still no BKB.
That last period, I felt like there was comeback potential, but with that, I don't know. It's just rough. You even have the period of just a relocate to the bottom lane to swiftly take down last set of Rex. And with this Tiny having that Manta, obviously already Agnems in hand, 2.2. It's just quickly coming clear that JR with all their farm and everyone having all the necessary items, it's just going to be too much for IEP. And without the late game heavy damage, some real hardcore carry to bring it through for them and be their dark horse, I think it's going to prove to be too much. And I mean, I hate to call too early, but I think we're going to.
Yeah, very right, I think there. But we'll see if they can make one last big stand. JR are just going from objective to objective. Tiny. Once he actually picks up, it's a full this is struggling. All he needs to do like right now is to come back to defend. I don't think he's going to have it. He's good. He should probably sell his poor man's shield. Sell the poor man's shield, buy the BKB. I think he might still be short, even with the sold poor man's shield. That's $250 enough.
Already, they're about to fight here. Donnie in the mix right now. though, knocking at that tier 3 with the big tree trunk is Jivix. He promptly jumps back to avoid getting
Void's hitting
isolated.
creeps mid. This is his BKB money. He's trying to...
He's like, please, please.
You guys have your stand up bottom lane. I'm just gonna farm my BKB mid, even if I'm nearby.
To get it. At this point, yeah. Yeah, you probably got to roll someone more midfield to the BKB. Even if you want a team fight, it's not going to matter too much. There's the clock now, getting caught out, thrown up into the air, as he gets targeted from the very necessity right here of the rebound. Jump forward, yeah, he gets a nice put up, but in it, and he's already on the heavy damage.
Somebody Dyer's done it again.
They had that 5k goal lead. It was a very close game for the entire game, apart from that last 3 to 5 minutes, was just neck and neck. Nothing really separated the two teams, but all it took was one good fight that they followed up with the 2 towers mid. They win another fight after that, they get Roshan, and suddenly the game's just been blown out of proportion, and that's where IAP just didn't have what it took to match up against Johnny's Revenge in the late game once they lost that kind of stability that they showed early on.